late. Millions of people to visit every Christmas. Never enough time. Well, that's it. I'll never be late for the pageant again. Open the valve. Check. Initialise the thunderclock. Check. Power up. Check. It's alive! Well, it's on anyway. And away!
It costs to phone the North Pole. Just do it. He's late again. He's always late. I don't know, he delivers all those presents on Christmas Eve. Oh, it's like talking to a bunch of clowns around here.
Ho, 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 ho. Oh, what a ride. Has anybody got the time? Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Good morning, Jane, and look at this beautiful day.
Isn't it gorgeous, Brenton? We're here on North Terrace for the beginning of the 2002 Christmas pageant, and it's glorious weather.
And I tell you what else is glorious. Father Christmas is here,
yes,
on time, and he's right now in the Stardust Castle.
But the important thing is there are thousands of people lining the streets of Adelaide behind the blue honour line, waiting to see that important bloke in red come down the road.
And it won't be long, because right now, of course, the pageant has started down on South Terrace.
Yes, and Ian Carter's got a few blokes to help him get it underway.
Yes, pageant director Ian Carter has 10 clowns, and right now they're counting down to the start of this wonderful Christmas pageant.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What a wonderful, happy start to the pageant that was.
A glorious place to start, and we're looking at that beautiful red line as it snakes its way through Adelaide, and they're just about ready to turn into North Terrace.
They're all the different streets the pageant goes up.
All the way down.
So lots and lots of people can get a chance to see the 2002 Christmas pageant.
And there we can see Government House, which sits at number 1 North Terrace,
yes,
where our Governor, Marjorie Jackson Nelson, lives, and the Festival Centre behind. And as you swing around, you see that very important intersection of King William Street and North Terrace, where the Credit Union Christmas pageant is about to turn into view.
And look at the people lining up there. They've been there for ages, haven't they?
It's a gorgeous day today too. Blue skies, nice and warm, and it's early enough in the day for there not to be too many concerns about sunburn and getting too hot.
That's right. And you can see the blue honour line just down there in the corner, and most people are sitting behind it. It's just so that people don't get their toes trodden on by some clown coming, you know, prancing along there.
Those clowns, they've had a long way to go. It's been a couple of kilometres singing and dancing and hooting and hollering all the way. So, yes, they don't want to get out of hand. And you can see just at the bottom of your screen there some of the chalk this year that's been being used by the children while they wait to draw on the road. It's been a great idea.
Well, it's a way to keep them amused before the pageant gets here, because sometimes it is a bit of a long wait, isn't it? They've been there for hours, some of them, trying to get the best position. Look, people have been writing wonderful Christmas messages on the road. And I'm sure
a last-minute one just being written on there.
And that policeman's keeping a close eye on that little person, just so they don't get into trouble when the pageant comes along, because it'll only be a matter of minutes, I would think, before we see the beginning of the 2002 Credit Union Christmas pageant.
And look at the vantage points that people have taken advantage of to get their best view. They're clambering on steps. We can see some people up on balconies.
Looking out of windows.
There they are, all waving the Credit Union Christmas pageant flags and tinsel. And there's a very excited person.
Very excited, yes. There must be thousands and thousands of people who've taken advantage of this beautiful weather to come along and watch this great tradition.
It is a wonderful tradition. And speaking of tradition, there's a great bit of tradition that's going to be right up the front of the parade today with Ian Carter, the man who's been behind the pageant for all those years. He's going to be driving a special little vehicle, I
Well,
hear.
he is, and he drove that a long time ago, but we might wait till we see him because it's actually a bit of a surprise what happened to him that long ago.
It was a bit of a... he was a bit naughty, wasn't he?
Well, yes, he was, actually, yes. Well, he was young and having such great fun.
And a bit silly. Oh, I can hear, just in the distance, I can hear the beat of a drum.
Well, I can see something happening down there. Something's come around the corner.
It might be the police greys, do you think?
Okay, everybody behind the blue on line, and time to get excited. Every year, I have even more excitement watching this. It just gets better and better every year, doesn't
It's
it?
a sense of anticipation, isn't it? And there's a police vehicle right at the front, just making sure things are clear. There's all the mums and dads and nanas and pops and aunties and uncles and the most important people, the children. And look at the lovely shade from the plane trees here in North Terrace, providing for lots of people plenty of shade on this warm day. And we can just see the truck coming into view. And then, Brenton, I think the moment has arrived.
I can hear some drums. Santa's little helpers. All the credit unions who really help to make sure that this pageant goes on every year.
Without their support, it wouldn't happen. And there's some happy little chappies down on the blue honour line, waving away.
They have their flags ready. And here come the police greys.
The moment's arrived, Brenton. The 2002 Credit Union Christmas pageant is here.
It is. Now, see that little red car we were talking before? Well, driving that little red car is the pageant manager, Ian Carter. 21 years ago, he was driving that little car in the pageant and showing off in front of the Adelaide Town Hall, and he turned the car over.
He had an accident, didn't he? He
Yeah.
rolled it.
And he was banned from ever being in the pageants again until today.
And it's a wonderful thing because it's 21 years and he has been involved with the pageant for more than 30 years. And this is his last Christmas
This
pageant
is his
today.
last Christmas pageant. Well, the last one that he'll be associated with. I'm sure next year he'll be here.
And you know who's taking over?
No, who's
Brian Gilbertson is going to
Really?
be the new pageant manager.
Isn't that great?
That's fantastic news. Brian's got a great history in the arts in South Australia, in opera and other things. And here we can see the police greys. And look, they're wearing tinsel, Brenton, on their foreheads.
Are they?
They are. They've got tinsel on their bridles.
Well,
Look
they're
at
allowed
that.
to have fun too today.
They are.
Everybody's allowed to have fun today. It's pageant day. And behind the police greys, we'll see the band of the SA Police. They do a wonderful job, the police, on a day like today, as do the ambulance people and lots of volunteers who make this event happen every year. This band was formed in 1884, and it's been a tradition for a long time that they lead the pageant.
There's Ian Carter. I hope he doesn't roll that little red
Oops.
car
Oh, he
today.
nearly ran into the camera.
And just behind the police band, you can see the parade of flags. The Credit Union sensational Adelaide Christmas pageant flags, which herald the start of the 2002 pageant.
And you have to remember that these people have been doing this for about 3.5 kilometres. That's
It's a
how long the
long
pageant
way.
is. Yes.
And look, they look as fresh as daisies, these pageant flag bearers.
All the different flags of all the different credit unions, and of course lots of clowns with very colourful hair.
And no flags. I don't think he's meant to be in amongst the flags.
I don't think so. The clowns don't obey rules.
They're allowed to do anything, aren't they? And there's a fantastic float.
About 20 different pageant characters dancing along, representing the whole pageant, I guess. We've got clowns and pixies and jesters, toy soldiers.
The whole lot.
It's just bits and pieces of, that represent the entire kaleidoscope of the pageant.
And that's a beautiful, it's not quite a carousel, is it? But it's a beautiful turning top. A spinning top, I suppose you'd call it.
Yes, a mini carousel.
With beautiful unicorns and fairies.
Oh, look at the size of
bursting out
that
it.
clown.
He's a very tall fellow, isn't he?
He'll be able to see everything that's going on.
And look, he's shaking hands with some of the children. using his small hand.
His small hand. He has a big hand and a small hand. Well, let's give the clown a big hand.
We
Sorry.
shall. And here's the London bus, Christmas on Parade. It was originally a London bus, a double-decker bus that used to drive around in London, but it's been turned into a big bus full of Christmas cheer.
Must have been a long trip down here from London.
And it had to drive over the water too.
Magic.
Magic. That's the magic of the pageant.
Happens every year.
And look, it's loaded up with lots of children and people waving and cheering on.
Isn't it? It must be wonderful up there, looking back at the people that are looking back at you.
Yes, and seeing all the joy reflected on people's faces.
Well, they've had an easy ride, that lot, haven't they?
Yes, but the people walking beside them have had to go the whole 3-odd kilometres. And they're looking very happy up there. They're in the shade, so they haven't got too much sunburn. And behind them comes the nativity presentation. Camels.
Oh, look, real camels.
Real camels, and they're bearing the 3 wise men, leading us to the true meaning of Christmas, with the nativity float behind there of the manger.
And you can hear the music, which is the Hallelujah Chorus. Or the Alleluia Chorus,
Depending on which school you went to. Look at those lovely camels.
Oh, it's a rocky ride up there, isn't it?
It is.
And here she is, the pageant queen.
Kirsty Coleman from Savings and Loans Credit Union, resplendent in her beautiful gown of shot gold and shades of plum. And surrounding her, Brenton, is
Yes.
a princess from each credit union.
There's Samantha Carter from Australian Central.
And Bryony Willoughby from Power State.
Kirsty Coleman, Savings and Loan.
Renee Dow from Satisfact Direct.
Lexi Attard from the Police Credit Union.
And from the CPS, Mari or Marie. I'm not sure how Marie or Mari pronounces her name, but Romeo's her surname.
It is.
And she's from the CPS Credit Union.
What a great tribute to these girls, and a great thrill for them.
And you know, Kirsty's a mum herself, the pageant queen, so she's very excited to be up there as the first mum to be pageant queen. It's very good.
This is the Enfield City Band. There's 35 members of that band.
And they're wanting us to tie our kangaroos down. Did you bring your kangaroo?
I tied it down before I left home, yes.
And this is the Australian girls drill team, adding lots of colour and precision marching to our beautiful Australian
And look
section.
at their skirts. When they open them up, they're all Australian flags.
And they're sequined and shining in the sun, aren't they beautiful?
They look like they're really having a great time.
There they Oh, look at them. They've got feathers around the edge, some of them. And a sequined Australian flag skirt. Very flash.
They've been doing that.
3 kilometres.
3 kilometres. They must be fit.
And they're smiling.
And those little ones have been doing it too.
Here's some more in beautiful black catsuit costumes with stars on them.
Can you twirl those ribbons? Can
No,
you-
I can't. No, mine just sort of drag along the ground and get grubby.
Never mind. Well, he seems relaxed.
The jolly swagman. Oh, a clown's fallen over. He's been arrested by a trooper nearly.
Almost. Well, I think he's eaten too many mutton chops.
And he probably got them from a sheep he shouldn't have had.
Time for a bit of a kip, I think. Oh, I think you're in trouble, mate.
Yeah, he's resting under a coolabah tree while his billy boils.
Of course, there were troopers. 1, 2, 3.
That famous Australian song. And I think that was a cockatoo just flew past.
Really?
A big white sulphur-crested one. There's a couple of extra swagmen walking along beside, and that old swaggy's just kicking his foot in the sunshine.
He had a jumbuck in his tucker bag. I'm
Did
sure
he?
I saw that.
I'm sure he shouldn't have.
Birth of the Butterfly.
Oh, look at this. This is one of the new floats, Brenton, and it's very pretty.
It's a Dreamtime story about how a cockatoo's spirit had gone to another land, and no other bird or creatures would go to the other land to see what it was like. And in the autumn, the caterpillars went, and all the others waited for spring. Spring came with blossoms, birds, and the grub returned as a beautiful coloured butterfly.
And the grubs that are going along beside are waiting to turn into butterflies themselves.
Well,
oh,
they
here's
will.
Tandanya dreaming. This is a great float. The didgeridoo sounds and depicting the South Australian Aboriginal culture in the form of the Tandanya area and various surrounding tribes. The hills represented are the ears of the rainbow serpent, Mount Lofty and Mount Benithan, and that rainbow serpent extends all along the hills to the Barossa Valley, and the tail surrounds the Adelaide Plains along the coast, right down to the South Coast area represented on the base of the float.
It's time for the Bandicoot Boar Rock Music Festival.
Now they're looking pretty energetic too, having a good old dance as they come around the corner.
Celebrating the age of rock and roll.
Nothing like it.
Oh,
I think he wants to scream and shout.
I think he does. Shout.
Oh, isn't it wonderful?
Oh.
All the crowd's joining in
Sing,
too.
sing,
Sing,
sing.
sing, sing.
It's an old Johnny O'Keefe
I
song.
think it is, yes. And the crowd joins in as they rock and roll past.
Colour and music and a great deal of happiness. What a wonderful day.
And I think this might be our friend. Oh no, we've still got the rock and roll music, or the Rock and Music Festival from the Bandicoot 4. But there's our friend Koala Great. Look at him.
Oh, well, he'll always call Australia home, won't he?
He will. He's the largest fur-covered koala in Australia.
Really?
The very biggest.
Well, we only have the biggest and best in our pageant, don't we?
And what's he carrying in his hand? Is that wattle?
That is a sprig of wattle. It is.
And all those people carrying flags, they've each got a different Australian animal on them, if you can have a look. They've got, oh, we've gone past them now, but they've each got a wombat or a kangaroo or a platypus.
This is the Keith Conlon Jazz Band, and they've been doing this for about 147 years. They have.
Yes, Keith's very happy that you mentioned that. 147 years. There he is up the back on the drums, doing a fabulous job with the rotunda float.
It's the only gig these guys get every year, so they make the most of it.
We just wheel them out for the pageant.
Oh, dear.
Oh.
I hope anybody got a Band-Aid?
There's been a fall.
Oh, dear. Pick yourself up.
Oh, that's the way. Now here comes the Bay Botch Surf Club. Let's go surfing now, everybody surfing now. My goodness, look at that sun cream, Brenton. That's a big tube.
Oh, well, today you need it. It's a very sunny day, and all of these people have got either sun hats or lots of sunblock on. This is the Bay Botch Surf Club, and let's go surfing.
And do I see an octopus riding on top of that surfboard, or is it the surf boat?
It's the surfboat. I thought he was actually hanging 8 at the top, but...
And there's a dolphin. If you look closely, just on the crest of the wave, there's a beautiful dolphin riding
Surfing.
that wave.
They love doing that, don't they?
They're the most beautiful creatures. There's that octopus, and there's the lifesavers. Do you think that octopus has got them a bit worried?
I think so. Time for a rumba in Rio. Rio de Janeiro. They're dancing the lambada.
Are they? They're very colourful, aren't they, in Rio? Because they have Carnivale over there.
They do. They know how to have a festival in the street
They
too.
sure do. And look, there's all sorts of beautiful coloured peacock feathers and toucans. There's an enormous toucan sitting on that float with a great big beak. I don't think I could lambada 100 metres, let alone 3 kilometres.
They certainly are enjoying themselves, aren't they?
There's that toucan's beak. You'd have to be careful not to get your finger caught.
Oh, look. Nellie.
Nellie.
Nellie has been around for so long. Today, she's dressed as a royal elephant with all the colours of the Orient.
And she has been in the pageant for more years than anybody cares to remember. And she's still one of the favourites, isn't she?
Isn't she? Shuffling along.
And the beautiful oriental dancers and attendants on either side of her, wearing their very special headpieces and carrying those very pretty umbrellas. They don't keep much sun out, but my goodness,
No.
they're pretty.
Do you know that there are 54 floats in this pageant? That's
We've
a lot,
got, I
isn't it?
think,
12
probably
bands.
still 40 or so
Oh,
to
we've
go.
got lots to go. And I think I can see down there in the street, it is. It's the children of the Golden Palace. It's from another country. Well, it used to be called Siam. It's now
That's
called
right.
Thailand.
And the music is the March of the Siamese Children, so that's matching beautifully to the country of origin, with the pagoda on the back of the float and that very large king at the front with 7 of his children and lots of ladies of the court walking beside.
Shall we dance? Boom, boom, boom.
Yes, from The King and I.
Yes, it's a lovely movie.
Oh, there's some clowns creating a bit of trouble. Oh, And there's someone who's just enraptured.
Oh,
look at the concentration.
She can't believe what she's seeing. It's so wonderful. Ah, the skirl of bagpipes.
The Southern District Pipes and Drums celebrating their 6th birthday this year, and they're wearing the Clan Cameron tartan.
That's right, the Clan Cameron tartan. It's a beautiful tartan.
But they're not playing a Scottish song.
No, they're not.
They're playing Waltzing Matilda.
With a Scottish accent.
Yes.
The pipe major is Andrew Brockenbrow. The drum major is Greg Tansel. The drum sergeant is Pauline Roby.
Now we move to Europe with the Tulips from Amsterdam float. A beautiful windmill turning, and the Dutch couple there on the front of the float waving to everybody in traditional Dutch costume.
Tulips are beautiful flowers, aren't they? That grow
Glorious.
mostly in Holland.
They're renowned for their tulips. Look at that scene as we look down North Terrace with the tulip float going past. Lots of people wearing Dutch costumes. I wonder if they've got clogs on, because that's traditionally what they wore, wasn't it? Wooden
It
clogs.
might be difficult walking that far with clogs on, I think.
Yeah. Get a blister or two,
Wooden
wouldn't you?
shoes,
Bit
yes,
tricky.
unless you're used to them. The windmill is just turning and turning in the nice gentle breeze we've got here today.
It's lovely, isn't it, to think that all these people participating in the pageant today are volunteers.
That's right, yes they are.
Ordinary folk who come out once a year and live out their fantasies.
And have a wonderful time.
They do.
Here comes another London bus. This one's got its roof on.
This is the authentic 1946 London bus, and the fun of old London town is depicted with the bobbies and grenadier guards, the gentry folk like that couple there.
People dressed up in old-fashioned clothing from a different period. They're doing the Lambeth Walk.
They are. And someone in that bus, you know, Brenton, has got some sort of squirting thing that squirts streamers out at people as they go along. It's very cute.
Really? I wish I had one of those.
Yes.
That is a very tall bus. And speaking of very tall,
My goodness.
two Viennese ladies. They're from Vienna.
And they're waltzing down the street.
Vienna's in Austria. That's a country a long way away from us.
It is, and very famous for their waltzes, the Austrians. And look, that's how, in the olden days, that's how men used to dress with those white wigs.
And they used to powder them. They made that colour because they put powder in them.
And they used to powder their faces to match as well. And the ladies' wigs were also powdered. And there's the elegant Emperor and Empress sitting up on their balcony. And a slightly tired footman, I think.
Slightly tired, yes. It's been a long journey from Austria to here.
It has. Back to school.
Yes, Mr. Owley's school. There he is, the wise old owl. Must be the teacher, I guess. All of the students have passed their exams and they're out today having fun at the pageant.
Have they got an apple for the teacher, do you think?
Oh, I think they probably all gave the teacher an apple.
They'd have to watch out that the clown gave them an apple, because I'm sure if a clown gave you an apple,
I wouldn't
it'd have
eat
a
it.
worm in it.
Teachers must have the cleanest teeth in the world, you know.
They would
all
have,
those
wouldn't
apples.
they? This is one of my favourite floats. This is MacDougall the detective. And he looks fabulous, but I've got a suspicion that he's missing his quarry. I think they're behind him in that rubbish
I
tin.
think the person he's looking for is hiding in the rubbish bin, yes. He lifts the lid up every now and then just to see if Mac's looking, but
He's
Mac
just
isn't.
taunting him, isn't he?
I think there's been a bit of cheese burglary going on, and I think the nasty little cat in the bin is responsible for pinching the cheese.
But Mac's so busy making a good impression up the front of the float that he doesn't see the pussy in the garbage bin.
Well, I think Mac's more interested in the pageant. And maybe trying to catch that clown who seems to have pinched one of the signs from the side of the road.
He does, and he keeps moving it around and creating a roadblock. Troublesome clowns. And there go the mice eating the cheese, while Mac just strikes a handsome pose.
Yes, he's unconcerned. Now this band, this is the Tea Tree Gully Redbacks. And you can see why they're called the Redbacks.
Indeed. And they're doing very well, just like the other team called the Redbacks, the cricketers are doing at the moment.
This is their 5th year in the pageant, and they're basically a young person's band, about 13 years up to about 20 years old. Directed by David Gardner, who's a member of the South Australian Police Band. drum major is Michaela Monkey.
And I think, you know, that each year there are more and more in the Redbacks band, which is just fantastic. The Tea Tree Gully Redbacks, I'm sure that's a bigger crew than we've seen at previous Christmas pageants.
I think so. Now, after the Redbacks, one South Australian team, we catch up with some Crows. That's
Yes,
another South Australian team. Different sport, but...
although they don't look like this when they run out on the footy field, do
well,
they?
not often, no.
The Scarecrow now, I'm not sure that he's being very effective because it looks like he's got a few crows in his cornfield.
I don't think they're very scared of the Scarecrow at all. Been eating all of that wheat. And the
Oh, you're
Scarecrow
right,
can
it's
do
wheat,
nothing
it's
about
not
it.
corn.
I think it's wheat.
I think you're right, I think it is wheat. Oh, now here's a joint that I wouldn't want to go to under any circumstances.
Number 13, Ghastly Grove.
It's not my sort of spot.
Top address.
You have to like spiders and ghouls and creatures
Well,
that
they're
look
a
like
bit
that.
spooky, aren't they?
Aren't they? They look as if they're having a pretty good
Well,
time.
they've got a great taste in music. Rock me.
Oh, but then you see, that's what happens.
Thunder and lightning.
They freeze.
Spooky. I can see a pink monster.
There he is. Another of the new floats this year, that's Bruto. Monsters are supposed to be scary, but I don't think anybody would be frightened by Bruto, would
Bruto
they?
scares us.
No. He looks magnificent. And look, he's very carefully carrying two dear little girls.
cradled in Bruto's arms, so it can't be all bad.
And his eyes are having a look. Look how
Always
they move.
looking around, looking at everybody.
See, that's a comfy spot. And they've even got pink seatbelts to match Bruto's fur.
Oh, I'm glad they have seatbelts. I wouldn't want to fall out of Bruto's arms.
See how Bruto's looking at
I
everything?
can
Just
see
very
the eyes
slowly.
moving. They sort of follow you around the room.
They do.
Whoa, looking at all the children, looking at him.
He's got big feet.
He has. Big flat feet. Oh, something spacey's about to happen here,
I think they might have been aliens that have invaded our Christmas pageant, Brenton.
Oh, well, welcome anyway. Everyone's
Yes.
welcome to the Christmas pageant.
So long as they're friendly, and they do look like friendly aliens.
They do. They're waving a lot. This is Galaxy 2000.
And do you know there's a lucky little boy right up in the top of that spaceship?
Starship Cosmos, yes.
Yeah, riding in the front there. There he is. You can just
How
see him in the
exciting
canopy
would that
there.
be to fly that spaceship?
And it goes up and down as it belches some smoke and take off.
Whoa. Lots of space.
Hey, this is a bit clever what the John Reynolds Drum Corps is doing. They're not only marching forward, but they're doing manoeuvres sideways. Look at that.
Oh. It's very fancy, isn't it?
Their music director is Des Clark, and drum major Amanda Walmsley. It's her first time today, and she's got the drum corps moving like clockwork.
Isn't that fantastic? The average age of this band is only 17 years. And it's combined, it's a combination of 8 snares, 4 quads, 2 cymbals, and 3 single bass drums, a double bass, and of course, the drum major, Amanda Walmsley.
That looks fantastic, the way they're moving in and out. And behind the drums, there comes the ye old pageant tram.
Well, the tram used to come down here a long time ago, and now it only comes down here once a year.
And some folk dressed up in old-fashioned costumes. Getting a big wave.
Here it is, the pageant tram.
This is a very special tram because it doesn't need the wires to be overhead.
No, and it just carries a lot of happy people to the pageant.
And I think some of them are blowing bubbles. Look at that.
Merry Christmas.
They're getting cheers as they go past.
People in the tram are all cheering to everybody.
Oh, watch out.
Watch out, that clown has a hammer.
Oh. Speaking of clowns, here comes Boo-Hoo the Jester.
No, this is Pogo.
Oh, sorry, this is
No, this
Pogo. I'm ahead of
Pogo.
myself.
You are ahead of yourself. This is Pogo.
The biggest knees in the world.
Oh. There are all sorts of things around pogo. There are bob-up pogos and pogo clowns, and they're big, there are small, they're all shapes and sizes, and they're all having a great time, but I just love pogo's hair.
I'd love to
think
know where he gets it done.
the green hair.
Do you think that'd suit me on the news?
Well, I do, but, you know, a survey of one.
I'll have to try and see what the news director
Well,
thinks.
I'll watch and see. And look, there's other little pogos behind.
Yes.
Little pretend pogos.
They come in all sizes, don't they? as
All
they
shapes
say?
and sizes.
You've sort of got your junior, your medium size, and then your super large pogo.
Your economy,
Yeah.
big pogo.
I'm
Fancy.
watching clowns with hammers.
Now, this...
That's Boo-hoo the jester.
That's Boo-hoo the jester. You know what a jester is? A jester's an entertainer, someone that entertains people. A long time ago, jesters used to come into kings' palaces and things, entertain the kings and queens.
And that's the traditional headdress, isn't it, with the 3 points and the bells
And the
on
bells
the
on
end.
it, yes. But this one is about 4 meters high. Huge.
And then all around, he's got lots of other jesters like that one there who are helping amuse the crowd as they go along, dancing and jiggling around with their bells ringing as they go. Hello.
Merry Christmas. There's 18 of the happiest jesters in the world there. All tinkling their bells.
And the music that goes with it is very appropriate. It's called The Entertainer.
It is.
Scott Joplin piece. And doesn't Adelaide look beautiful with its fresh green leaves on all the trees?
And the blue sky. I wonder why Boo-hoo's called Boo-hoo, because Boo-hoo's usually to do with crying, isn't
That's
it?
right. Well, maybe it's because if you are feeling a bit sad and boo-hoo-ish, then Boo-hoo will make you smile. Maybe that's the idea, that he
Works for
sends the
me.
boo-hoos away. He doesn't look sad. Oh, dear. Mr. Clown's little thing had fallen off its tracks, I think. They're having a good old dance, those jesters beside Boo-hoo.
You know, you're saying before about all these volunteers, 900 people are involved
that
in just
right?
being characters in the pageant, let alone all those people who do makeup and hair
Costuming.
and costumes and
It
things.
takes weeks, you know, just to
Oh.
iron all the costumes.
Jane, Yum.
Yum! Snap! This is the Candy Carnival. If only this one would stop for a while, Brenton, you could
Yes.
pop down and get us a lollipop.
Grab a lollipop, maybe they could throw one to us.
Look at the vehicle pulling the carousel. It's got lollies
I've heard of
everywhere.
a gingerbread house, but that looks a bit like a gingerbread car.
It does, and it's got lollipops for bumper bars and stepping up onto.
Oh,
And that looks like a marshmallow roof.
wouldn't be too good in the rain.
No.
Now there's a lollipop. Can we have that one?
Or that one.
Or even that one?
No, I don't think they heard us.
And the merry-go-round is going round very merrily. Different names, aren't there? Hurdy-gurdy, merry-go-round, carousel. Can you hear those drums?
We had the John Reynolds drum corps before, and now we've got the little drummer boy, except he's a bit big.
It's hardly a little... There's a little
There's
drum
some
boy
little
or
drummer
two.
boys,
Yes.
yeah.
They're all got kettle drums. They're called kettle drums. That's just the name.
They make a lot of noise.
I suppose if you hit a kettle with some sticks, it'll probably make a rattly noise later.
And how happy does the little drummer boy look today?
Well, are you happy?
Yes. And some bigger drummer people walking alongside. And their beautiful turquoise costumes, braid on their shoulders. That's called epaulettes, isn't it? Those flat bits on their shoulders with the braid on
Yes,
it.
they are. And turquoise is obviously a blue colour.
Yes, lovely. Stars on their caps. And now, here comes Toby the toy truck.
Well, you've never seen such a big toy truck in your life.
And two lucky little boys, not that Batman boy, who's sitting high up on a balcony, but up there, equally high, driving
the truck.
Toby.
Oh, look out, clown. Oh, I thought that clown was going to get swallowed up by Toby's mouth.
He might have. There's the two drivers. Oh, the steering wheel comes off.
Well, it's a magic toy truck.
It's fantastic. Watch out, Mr. Clown.
And do you know what's in the back of that toy truck?
Let me guess. Toys?
You got it in one. Absolutely. It's laden down. Merry Christmas to you.
Happy New Year too, yes.
Toby Toy Truck has a hard hat on, just
Well,
in case he, runs into something.
He's a pretty heavy-duty toy truck. Look at those wheels.
They are big, aren't they? And in the back of Toby Toy Truck are more presents than you could ever imagine. Christmas presents
lots
galore.
of toys. And I reckon lots of little boys and girls might be hoping that one might fall out and that they could catch it, but they
There
won't.
they are, look. Full of cuddly toys.
Oh, look at that. Teddy bears and drums and all sorts of things in the back of Toby.
And here come the Adelaide University's Regiment Pipes and Drums. They're wearing the blue and white Napier attire. The commander is Pipe Major Warrant Officer Class 1 Phil Wild. You know, that everything that they carry there, the uniform and the pipes and things like that, it's about 14 kilograms they have to carry on them.
Is that
Very
right?
heavy.
Does that include those big furry hats
The
called
Busbies,
busbies?
they're carrying about 14 kilograms of weight and all that costume. And
That's a lot, isn't it?
it takes about 2 years, actually, to train someone to become a competent bagpiper, just to the basic standard, let alone being as good as these people are.
Beautiful sporrans. Those long, hairy things hanging down the front of their kilts.
Spot on.
They're beautiful. And do you know Phil Wild plays his bagpipes not only in this band, but sometimes he plays with another band called Classical Gas.
Does he?
And he plays his bagpipes and wears his kilt for that too.
I think if you were playing bagpipes, you'd really have to wear your kilt.
Yeah, they don't look right
Wouldn't
if you don't
sound
have a
the same,
kilt
I
on.
don't think,
No,
no.
certainly would not. I think there's something nasty lurking.
You think so?
Could we have something nasty in our pageant?
Oh, only for fun.
Only for fun. Only if he was only sort of a pretend nasty.
Well, this is a pretend nasty. It's sort of like pretend nasty Neville, the pirate king. Yo-ho-ho, are there mateys?
And he's being rowed along by what I think you'd call as a very generously built pirate in that front boat.
Very generously built.
Oh, there's nasty Nev.
Oh, he's only making believe.
You think he's all
Nobody
looks?
could be that nasty on pageant day.
No.
It's amazing what effect the pageant has on even the nastiest people.
That's right.
Look at that one. Now, there's another generous pirate.
That is a generously built chap, isn't it? But look, he loves his mum. He's got it tattooed on his shoulder. And he's got a band of fairly unruly pirates running along the side. Some of those have got cutlasses. They're those big swords.
Big curved swords. I don't think they're real. That pirate up the front rowing the boat hardly fits in that little dinghy.
He doesn't, does he? Look at him. He's squashed in there. And he's a bit puffed, I think, from rowing all that
It's
way.
been a long journey. Maybe he's looking for some treasure.
Buried.
Buried treasure.
My goodness, look at those little butterflies on springs.
I know who that person's waiting for. It's picnic time for teddy bears. If you should go down to the woods today,
You're in for a big
you
surprise.
sure are. Teddy bears are having a picnic.
So are the ants, I think.
Well, something for everybody. Ants have their place.
They do. They help clean up the crumbs,
just not
don't
in a
they?
picnic basket.
No, not in the basket. They're allowed to be on the grass beside. See, there's a couple.
Those bears are having a great picnic.
It's a beautiful day for a picnic too.
I'm sure that a lot of these people, when the pageant's over, they'll probably go off somewhere in this beautiful, beautiful spring day and have a picnic.
They'll keep an eye out for this chap, though.
St. George and the Dragon.
Very friendly dragon. Even though he's blowing some steam and smoke out of his nose, he's a very, very cute-looking dragon, I
He
think.
is. And of course, maybe you could take him along to the picnic and you might be able to cook your sausages
You
under his
would.
nose.
You'd be able to satay your sausages.
Smoke
or get,
your sausages.
That's right. Smoke your sausages and cook them at the same time. Look at him.
Oh dear. Oh, that smoke coming out of the dragon's nose.
Good job there were no flames for our camera.
Oh, No, I think they turned the flames off.
Yes. And there's St George, who's conquered the dragon up the top in his coat of armour.
Here's another relaxed little character. It's Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots, yes.
And that's the Marquis or the Marquis?
Well, I say Marquis, but...
Yes, of Carabas.
And the music here is very appropriate because it's Tom Jones singing Pussy, Pussy, Pussycat, I Love You.
Now, that's a very good hat on a day like this, isn't it?
It is. No sunburn on that pussycat's nose.
No.
And look how well equipped he is. He's got huge cushions.
Very relaxed.
Now, the pageant is not a race, but don't tell that to the hare and the tortoise.
Well, no. I mean, that's a famous story, isn't it?
It is.
The hare thought, because it was a hare, it was going to win that race easily. And the poor old slow tortoise wouldn't have a chance, but what happened?
So the hare sat back with his feet up, thinking that he didn't have to run fast at all.
And fell asleep.
And the old tortoise just kept plodding along, and guess who won the race?
Slowly does it.
That's right.
And look, just there, passing the finish line, is the tortoise winning the race.
And
the hare doesn't even know about it.
No.
The hare's asleep.
Sound asleep. And the music for this is appropriate because it was another big race, the Chariots of Fire music.
Oh, right, yes.
That was a very famous film a few years ago about runners in a big race.
These people have come down from the Adelaide Hills.
Have they?
The Harndorf Town Band.
Good on them. And they're wearing Merry Christmas hats. Isn't that nice?
They're the only brass band in the Adelaide Hills, and they've been going for about 75 years. Not these particular people, but the band has been going for 75 years.
And they've got about 20 members. Today they're being conducted by their deputy bandmaster, Phil O'Neill. Their musical director is Kevin Cameron.
And even Humpty Dumpty, who had a great fall, even Humpty Dumpty's happy today.
He's been put back together again by all the King's horses and all the King's men.
Well, they really could put him back together again in real life, but anything can happen in pageant.
Pageant special. And look, what a lovely way to go in the pageant, on a rocking horse. Hello.
That happy little sausage. Yep, rocking your way all the way along the pageant.
There's a soldier with a very smart hat.
Well, Humpty Dumpty must have been a very special person for the king to want to put him back together again when he fell off the wall.
Absolutely. You can see why he's very happy today, sitting up there between the turrets, the two towers of the castle. In fact, he's being held up by a couple of
So
soldiers.
they're putting him back together again. They can't quite get him back on the wall.
No.
And this is Gulliver.
And he went to a land where all the people were tiny wee.
Yes, and they tied him up with string and things.
Because they thought he was a giant. And that's because they were all people from a place called Lilliput.
I guess if you were the size they were and someone as huge as Gulliver came along, well, you might think he was a bit strange too. But it all worked out in the end.
There's some of the ladies of Lilliput.
Lilliputians.
Lilliputians, that's right. Yes. And I can hear a clown with his honker going honk-honk in the distance as well.
When I was little, I thought his name was Gullible.
Did you?
It's Gullible's Travels.
Gullible's Travels.
But then maybe I was the Gullible one.
That's right. And it's lovely just to hear laughter and clapping and cheering. No sadness on pageant day.
No.
Everybody's happy and smiling.
And who wouldn't be on a day as beautiful as this? Look at that blue sky.
It's absolutely
A lovely
glorious.
temperature.
And there's just the hint of a breeze to keep these people who've been walking and singing and dancing and waving for 3 kilometres cool.
And people have been handing out free bottles of water just to keep people
Very
from being
sensible.
thirsty.
Now we've got Snow White. There she is with her red apple. And the 7 dwarves. This is another of our new floats. And we can see all the dwarves there. Bashful, Dopey, Happy. Oh, not you. You're the Wicked Witch. Sneezy, Grumpy, Doc and Sleepy. But there's 6 huntsmen flanking the float just to protect them from that Wicked Witch up the top, the evil queen.
Speaking of people sort of handing things out, there have been a lot of volunteers. The Adelaide Guides while people have been here from interstate and overseas for the pageant, they've been handing out, there's been about 100,000 queries about what to do in Adelaide, and people from the Adelaide City Council have just been handing out information for all these people.
It's a great idea, isn't
volunteering
it?
to do that as well.
Our city would grind to a halt without the volunteers. Oh, look, a tiny pageant watcher. Yes, sir, you're on television too. Congratulations. And there's one going up onto the top of somebody's shoulders to get a better view. That's better.
Yes, it's not long before someone special's here. And look, there's a reindeer. Oh, no, it's not.
No, it's a little girl with reindeer antlers. They're very nice antlers too.
I used to put reindeer antlers on my little dog at Christmas time.
Did your little dog like that?
Yes.
Did you put
looking in the mirror at itself? Thought it was great.
Rudolph nose as well?
Didn't like the Rudolph nose.
No. What sort of dog?
Cavalier King Charles I.
Would have looked perfect.
It did.
Old King Cole was a merry old soul.
Oh, yes, a merry old soul was he. Called for his pipe, called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddlers 3.
And I think if we look really carefully, there's the pipe, there's the bowl.
And the fiddlers were their violin players. That's sometimes
right.
called a fiddle.
And they're fiddling about up the back there. And there's some of the courtiers.
Oh, yes, looking terribly, terribly regal.
Yes. More of those powdered wigs.
Yes. Must have had a lot of powder in it.
They did, I think.
Must have sneezed a lot.
Wouldn't be good for the hay fever. There they are, fiddling away. I think they're playing a Christmas carol.
I think they are.
Old King Cole looks as if he's had a lot of Christmas pudding over the years, doesn't he?
Oh, who hasn't?
It's one of my favourite things, Christmas pud.
I think King Cole eats it all year.
He probably can because he's a king.
Yeah, kings are like that.
Yeah. Bye. See you next year. Clowns shaking hands and meeting people there.
Pretty happy-looking king.
He is.
Oh, he's a merry old soul.
That's right. That's how the jingle goes. Look, even his tractor pulling him's got a crown on the front.
It's the royal tractor.
It is.
An absolute wonderland of characters. The Credit Union Christmas pageant.
And speaking of wonderlands, here comes Alice with hers.
Well, there's the March Hare.
There's Alice.
That's the King of Tarts. Oh, I think it's the King of Tarts.
The King of Hearts.
The King of Hearts.
Who made some tarts.
That's right, I'm sorry.
That's the one. The Mad Hatter must be in there somewhere too. Tweedledum and Tweedledee, can we see
The Mad Hatter's
that?
sitting there with Alice. There's the Mad Hatter.
Oh, yes, you can tell by his mad hat.
Yes.
The Cheshire Cat is just beside, there in the pink. And the giant caterpillar riding high on the top of the float on top of the mushroom,
There's Tweedledum and Tweedledee. There's the caterpillar.
waving just 6 of his legs.
Using a few to hang on with, I think.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Big bad wolf time.
The 3 little pigs. Little pig, let me in, or I'll huff and I'll puff, or I'll blow your house down. Oh.
Here he goes. He's going to huff and puff, I think.
Well, let's see.
Big bad wolf. Little pig.
I don't think those pigs want to let him in, and quite rightly so.
The pigs are saying, go away.
This is the House of Sticks, isn't it? Oh, this is going to blow down.
This is going to blow down any minute.
Oh, no. The Clan Gord Pipe Band.
And leading them is Pipe Major Jim Morrison with Drum Major Peter Rowland.
They were formed in 1973. They've been piping for some time.
You can't imagine galloping through the snow in a one-horse sleigh just today, can you?
Not today, you can't.
That's what
no.
they're playing.
One-horse open sleigh. Laughing all the way.
You ever tried to twirl those drumsticks like that?
Yes.
And can you? Or did you?
Unsuccessfully.
Do you know the only time I tried, I banged myself on the head?
And you You didn't persist?
No, I didn't. I gave up after that.
There's a happy little fairy, a pretty little fairy.
Look, she's sitting on the tongue of that boot down in the bottom of the garden, underneath the bluebells in Fairy Nook.
A fairy nook. A nook is just a little sort of area, a little corner, isn't it, in the garden? A little nook. It's where the tiniest fairies live.
And they have beautiful glittery wings on.
They like to get down there so that they're safe.
And look who's here. It's Nipper.
This famous little brown horse, you know, this horse has been in every pageant since 1933.
And there's Molly Matotek riding Nipper today. What a lucky little girl.
And her father is from the Savings and Loan Accounts Department. That's Neil Matotek.
And there's a beautiful fairy princess coming along with the Fairy Nook and with Nipper. It looks like a cake, doesn't it? It's all pink.
It does, really, doesn't
It
it?
looks like it could be covered with icing.
When I was really little, I got to ride on Nipper in the
you?
Magic Cave.
Oh, you lucky
A long
boy.
time ago. And speaking of fairies, it's time for the Queen of the Fairies.
And if you look closely here, you'll see one of our media colleagues, Amanda Blair, as I live and breathe. There she is, dressed up like a fairy. And with her today are a couple of very lucky children. Nicholas Mundy of Salisbury East, who's aged 10, who's the handsome prince. And the fairy princess is Sarah Johnson-Verco of Port Elliot. She's also 10. And each of them had to say what they wished for the world. And Nicholas wished that the world had more friends because of all the horrible things that are happening.
Oh, dear.
And Sarah wished to build a time machine so we could use it to keep the victims of Bali and around the world safe in their homes. So
It
that
just
would
goes to prove, too, that the pageant is magic enough to make a fairy princess out of anybody.
That's right. Amanda Blair even,
Exactly.
of all people. And here comes
This
Nimble.
is Nimble. Also has been in the pageant since 1933, and this year the lucky little girl riding on Nimble is Lauren Anastasio.
And her dad works for the police credit union, Costa, out at Athelston. And she looks very happy to be there, wearing her beautiful fairy costume.
Beautiful white horse. Followed up by the Campbelltown City Band. They started in 1919. That is a long time ago.
And they wear special helmets called pith helmets.
Yes, they are. Those funny sort of white ones
White
with spikes on them.
And although they look heavy, they're actually quite light and they're very good in the heat.
They are.
because They leave lots of room for your head to breathe.
They do.
And the drum major is Mike Tucker, musical director Peter Monk. There you can see the pith helmet with the spike on top.
Silver spike on top.
And someone's put tinsel on theirs at the front. Look at
Put
that.
your telephone notes on that spike.
You could. Clash go the cymbals.
Watch out, camera, you get clashed. Jingle bells, what a wonderful song.
Should be jingle cymbals. Look out, the Toyville trolley's
Oh.
coming.
Will
Look
it
how
make
high-
it? Or
how
will all
high are
those-
those presents? Look.
I think, at a guess, let me just have a look. About 1, 2, 3, 4 metres high, I would think.
And look, there's little elves up there helping hold the toys in place.
Well, I hope they don't fall down before they get to the end. Little toy maker pixies have been busily making toys, helping Father Christmas get ready for Christmas time.
There's probably enough presents on there to go for all the children in Adelaide, do you think?
I would think so, yes.
Look at that. Her pixie hat on, waving to the crowd.
Special little train to pull them all along.
This is the sort of town children would like to live in, because all the shops in Toy Town are built out of building blocks trimmed with tinsel and toys all over.
Oh, great town to live in. And there's some top hatters. They have those hats called top hats, and they're sort of candy striped, aren't they?
They're beautiful.
Once Father Christmas gets to town, well, there's not much else to do but get ready for Christmas.
That's right. And there's lots of fairies and clowns and all sorts of interesting people on that float. Look, that looks like Goldilocks.
Well, it does look like Goldilocks.
She's certainly got golden locks.
She does.
Oh, and there's someone
There's
else
another
with
Goldilocks.
golden hair.
All those blocks have little pictures or letters on them.
There's even a little elephant on that float. Look, little
one.
blue one.
Ah, Rudolph. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer.
He looks a bit relaxed. He's reading up about holidays.
Christmas, well, this is for after Christmas when Rudolph's finished working with Father Christmas
Oh,
and delivering
okay.
presents all around the world. Well, Rudolph needs a bit of a break.
Works
a
out where to
holiday.
go?
That's right. Reads the holiday brochures.
Do you think he'd choose somewhere cool or somewhere warm to go?
I think he's chosen. I think it's Adelaide.
Adelaide. Sensible
Where
reindeer.
else?
And they're singing, or the music, they're not singing it, but the music is his very own song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Very special to have your own song. Oh, look, look. The clown is tickling them all with some tinsel.
It's a very well-equipped tinsel clown, isn't it? Tinsel on his shoulders as well as in his hand.
I wonder how Rudolph got to have a red nose.
Do you know? I'm not sure. Do you know?
No, I think that's
No.
one of the mysteries.
Maybe it's because, you know, when you're out in the cold sometimes, your nose does go red, and because he's at the front of the reindeer, maybe
That'd
he
be the
breaks the
coldest
ice,
spot.
so to speak. And his nose got reddest of all.
Very good theory, Jane. I'll buy it. Silver bells.
Ah.
Silver bells.
And all the girls beside the Silver Bells float carrying little handles full of silver bells.
They're all sparkly in the sunshine today.
Beautiful, beautiful costumes. And when you think, was it 900 people you said are involved with the pageant? Each one of them has got a special costume
Yes,
that has to be
900.
taken away and cleaned and washed and put away safely each year so that the pageant can look so bright and sparkling new each year.
And believe it or not, there are 154 clowns at last count.
They have a tendency to multiply without warning, is my belief. Look, that tractor's got tinsel all around the edges as well. Beautiful coordination. The tractor driver's all dressed up like a silver bell as well.
I think silver bells are one of those sort of images of Christmas that are always there.
And here's another one. Although in our country it's always summer at Christmas time, in the northern hemisphere it's snowy. And out in the snow go the carolers, singing Christmas carols at people's doors.
And they have to sort of wear nice warm clothes, otherwise they'd get very cold.
And I think the voices that you're hearing here are from the Australian Girls Choir, which is one of the fabulous young people's choirs in Adelaide, and they do beautiful singing. So
They
that's
do.
what we're listening to.
And they're singing, well, Deck the Halls and Good King Wenceslas.
And fa-la-la-la-la.
That's fa-la-la-la-la-ring. Christmas time.
La-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
Now here's Cossie Koala. This is, well, a sort of a snow koala, isn't it?
From up in the snowy mountains.
Yes, because we do have snow country in Australia. We have
do.
desert and we have snow. Land of great contrast. And this is a koala from up in the snow country.
And he's got a few snowmen with him.
They haven't melted yet.
No,
Special non-melting snow.
Christmas pageant snow. And he's built his own little snowman in front.
Now, speaking of sleigh rides through the snow, here comes a sleigh. A sleigh is a special sort of little carriage, but it doesn't have wheels. It has little sort of metal slides, so it can slide along in the slippery snow, pulled by a horse.
And because if you were out in the snow, you'd have to keep nice and warm. You can see the people in the sleigh have got
Oh, they've rugged
their
up.
their picnic basket.
They have.
And another band, this time the 1027th Battalion Brass Band.
They're based at the Keswick Barracks. They're an army band. The drum major is Corporal Julie Sneedzer. The bandmaster is Warrant Officer Al Kidney.
And I don't think normally that they wear tinsel in the army, but today They've got tinsel on with their uniforms.
I think slightly out of uniform, but nobody worries today.
And Julie Snidzer, that's the drum major there in the middle, banging the big bass drum.
Yeah.
She's got a Father Christmas with reindeer antlers on the front of her drum.
Is she?
You have a look, see? Just right on the front
yes.
there, there's that red bit sticking up. There he is, Father Christmas wearing reindeer ears. Except I don't think that's Julie.
No, I think it's just the big bass drummer. That must be heavy.
Must be. And they're playing Rudolph's song as well. Have you ever been ice skating, Brenton?
Once.
Once.
Yes.
Me too.
I ski, but I don't skate.
I spent a lot of time skating on my bottom.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
But this lovely float has somebody just doing pirouettes on their skates behind that dear little girl sitting there. There she is, just turning around and
Snowtime
round.
Queen. Skating around and around. Kicking up lots of ice. Wow. Pirouetting very speedily. And these people are doing a bit of a waltz.
They're pretending to skate, I think. Bit hard on bitumen to skate.
I think so, yes.
All these Christmas floats give me a hint that someone
maybe?
special might be just around the corner.
Well, this is the biggest Christmas stocking ever. Imagine finding this hanging on your mantelpiece or on the end of your bed.
You'd have to have a very big bed.
You would. There'd be more than enough toys. If you added those toys to the ones that were in the big toy truck and the other parcels that the elves had, you could give toys to everybody.
You could. And of course, that's what Father Christmas does.
And there are so many little helpers that Father Christmas has.
And the music that comes with this float says, it's starting to feel a lot like Christmas.
It's beginning to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once the pageant's here.
And is it any wonder it feels like Christmas when we've got all these beautiful Christmas trees?
Shimmering in the beautiful sunlight here today at the Credit Union Christmas pageant. Beautiful red and gold decorations.
They're the traditional colours of Christmas, aren't they? The red and green.
Red and gold.
Yes. There's even a green clown here. Look at that. Colour-coordinated clowning.
There's a little fairy probably going to sit on the top of the tree later.
Yes. It's almost time to start thinking about putting up the Christmas trees in our houses.
Yes,
isn't
it is.
Families have different traditions for that. Some people do it on the 1st of December. Some people do it on Christmas Eve. Some people do it when the school holidays start.
This is Stardust Castle. This is where Father Christmas lives. So, gosh, he must be close.
And he is very close, I think. Look at that. There's a little helper from Stardust Castle looking very beautiful. And these Stardust Castle helpers have got stars inside their skirts.
I think this might be the castle from which Father Christmas makes everybody's dreams come true. Maybe that's where the phone rings when you
Yes.
phone, or when you send a letter to
When
Father
you send a
Christmas.
letter, that's where it goes, Stardust Castle. And here comes the Australian Army Band Adelaide looking very Christmassy with their Father Christmas hats on. The band's commanded by Captain Geoffrey Cox, the 14th officer to hold this position since the band's inception on December the 12th, 1950. So they're a very Christmassy band.
They are a Christmassy band, yes. And they have the very special privilege of introducing Father Christmas.
Welcome! Hello,
There
Father
he
Christmas.
is.
And he's being pulled along on his wonderful sleigh by all those reindeer.
Oh, we have Dasher and Dancer, Prancer and Cupid, Comet, Donner, Vixen and Blitzen.
And out the front is Rudolph.
Rudolph.
Jingle bells.
And now it's time to meet this wonderful person who's been pageant manager for so long, Ian Carter. You know, this is about the 69th year of the Christmas pageant, and somebody is doing it for the last time, and that's Ian Carter. His first Christmas pageant was 29 years ago in 1973, and he's had a passion for the pageant ever since.
He's been the pageant event manager for the last 10 years, but he's decided to hang up his hat and leave Father Christmas in the safe hands of Brian Gilbertson. And there he is in that little red car.
That's the little red car that I think he turned over way back then in front of the town hall.
Wasn't it lovely to see him leading the pageant today back in that little red car?
Now, his first character role was the frog, or you can't quite remember whether it was a frog or driving that little red car. But he did that for 8 years, and as we said, unfortunately the car was banned for turning over. You know what he's going to do when he's finished the pageant?
I think he said he's going to take some people on bus tours around South Australia.
He'd have a lot of stories to tell, wouldn't he?
Wouldn't he?
Yeah. So congratulations to Ian. He's produced some of the most wonderful pageants over so many years for us, and we just wish him well. We wish him, of course, a very Merry Christmas.
And he's been such an enthusiast for the Christmas pageant over the years. Anybody who's ever had anything to do with Ian has always been struck by how fabulously enthusiastic and committed he is to the Christmas pageant. He just adores the whole event, and he works really hard towards it, even when he's swilling champagne.
And I guess he would know all of these characters so well. He's been so involved with the design and the preparation of floats and characters over so many years.
He lives it, doesn't he?
He does. And well, what's he going to do next year? I guess he'll be here watching.
I think he'll be here watching, because I think for the next couple of months I know that he's going to stay on with the Stardust Castle team and help Brian Gilbertson learn the ropes of being the pageant manager. Oh, look, he's getting a kiss there. These photos are from over the years where Ian has been involved with the pageant. And you can see from these not only how he's always up front, but also how hard he's worked behind the scenes.
Because originally he worked for John Martin's, a big department store, and helped with decorations for them, and he was a show card writer and a ticket writer, someone who just designed store displays and things, and he's always had a flair for the artistic.
And over the years he's been involved with some of the major productions like the Pirates of the Caribbean and Tales of the Fairies. And
Pharaohs.
Did I say fairies? I've got fairies on the brain. And of course, over the years there has been just occasionally a bit of artistic mayhem crept in when Ian's been involved, because he's such a passionate person about the pageant. He gets a bit carried away sometimes, even by his own admission.
And there's Father Christmas. He's arrived. He's about to enter the magic cave.
He's being helped down the steps off his reindeer sleigh. There he goes. He's got a very special helper, and he's going to go up on stage. And our very own Nuala Hafner is going to be up there to meet him.
I can't believe that Father Christmas is here again. It's wonderful.
It is. It doesn't seem like 12 months ago, does it, since he was last here?
No, it doesn't. Well, speaking of Nuala, I think she's there now to meet Father Christmas.
Wow! Mums and dads, boys and girls, let's give 3 ginormous cheers for Father Christmas. Are you ready? Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip.
Father Christmas is being serenaded there on his platform, and in a minute he'll be going inside to the magic cave.
Jane, it's been wonderful. Thank you very much. I had an absolutely wonderful time at this year's pageant, as I always do.
It's been terrific, hasn't it, Brenton? And we're very excited to be able to have brought you the 2002 Credit Union Christmas pageant.
Merry Christmas to all of you.
Something's happening in town today. The streets alive in a magic way, and everything I see and hear says it's Christmas. Nipper and nimble riding by a Christmas tree that's oh so high, and cooks are cooking up treats so warm and tasty. A stocking filled with toys for all. A sled glides by and sleigh bells Father Christmas blows kisses to all. With a very Merry Christmas and a welcoming wave, come and join me here inside the Magic Cave. It's so good to be back, and here in my sack are toys for all the girls and boys. Have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. All the joy and happiness and seasonal cheer. It's the time and the place to wear a happy face. It's the place where dreams come true.